Preface. This is merely a response to a doctrine that I have experienced. It is no more than my opinionated testimony. What is sarcastic denialism? The doctrine of sarcastic denialism is an idealistic form of the general sarcasm. The comedic art form of sarcasm has its roots from the Greek word sarkasmos, which initially means to tear flesh, bite the lip, enrage or sneer. All these words rule the violent enigma of physical strength. Though the origin of sarcasm was from the Greek language initially, and finalized in the Latin language. But the enigmatic sarcasm is only a form of comedy, right? Well, to be honest, my sheer lack of respect to sarcasm may be the problem, due to this uninspiring nature basically amounting to nothing more than a backwards image of your statement. Then for many people this is a semantic difference of definitions, and most find not to be true at first. But as they find themselves in closer proximity of sarcastic people, and their sometimes annoying non-seriousness, it finds itself that a lot of the time sarcastic people just deny the statement that the other person said, or just flat out say, I don't agree with that, and roll with it. They don't care. So then the truth of the statement is revealed. The sarcastic denialist branch is merely a doctrine which exposes that is a good mechanistic formula to get total value out of encounters which are seen as either boring or plainly explanatory to the true beliefs of the sarcastic denialist. What is the appeal of sarcastic denialism? For many, it is simply a way to get through life without being challenged by an inner contradiction or false belief. It is a safe ground upon which they rest when they have to get serious. And the philosophy behind it is also very friendly to the person, because all of the effects are beneficial through the lens of hedonism. Because it is apparent that it is hard to move from a belief that is within the psyche, that which was with us all through our lives, a fundamental belief. So then we also have the outside effects of this belief, are reminiscent of hedonism, but there do exist differences. For example, it is very clear that when talking to a sarcastic denialist, we see that there exists a trigger within them, that if anybody talks about something resembling a conversation that is of unknown nature or purely sensitive stature to the sarcastic denialist, he has a select few options. Those options being the complete silence, where he does not input anything, the saying of a random statement whereby he sidesteps the question, or most infuriatingly of all of them, being a direct attack on the source of the argument that you've stated. This attack is so spineless due to its problem of evidential cohesion, and of the ultimate skepticism of the other person's argument. How to beat a sarcastic denialist? This is a question that loomed over me since I thought of this video idea. But I digress. First, before we give an argument against the doctrine, we must analyze the background, because this fight is very contextually based. In most cases, there are three background contexts, at least the most frequent. Those being, number 1, a solo conversation with the sarcastic denialist. Number 2, a group meetup with one of them being a sarcastic denialist. And 3, a full group of sarcastic denialists. Let's examine it one by one to see every way of illicitly deflating the sarcastic denialist. A solo conversation will be a tiresome match, but the best move is to in fact just go away. This may sound defeatist, but a solo conversation with him will not have any lasting impact, unlike with other scenarios. The reasoning behind this decision is that of the fact that a conversation with him is as talking to a god, because if you say some deductive argument of the order of nature, it is as nothing more than random words to the basic fact that he is on a completely different level of understanding. Scenario 2. You're talking with a bunch of friends and one of them is a sarcastic denialist. Well, here is where things get more interesting. because of the reason that this relies on what the group thinks of both of you. So your main mission here is to persuade the group that you are right. But this is harder than you think. It is due to the fact of the matter being that you'll come off most of the time as the brash or pseudo-intellectual guy, which is trying to, in a way, show himself as the smartest. This makes the wackiness of the sarcastic look way more appealing to them regardless if you think that it is a flawed way of looking at people. So the persuasion needs to be quick and to the point. So here I'll lay out some simple reasons to not in any way believe or follow the doctrine of sarcastic denialism. Reason number one. The doctrine lends itself to a host of childish and dismissive argumentative forms, which disregard any or all serious conversation. Reason number two. It is an appeal to the hedonistic tradition, which lends itself to a less fulfilling life, due to the constant sidestepping of all arguments that are to them boring or destroy a fundamental belief. And as Socrates put it, an unexamined life is a life not worth living. Reason number three. The actual benefits of this strategical belief is very limited. At most you'll be looked at as a regular person that fits into the standard of the norm. And internal benefits are none to zero. As I've stated in reason number two, you will actually suffer under your lack of confrontation. These three reasons are the best way to show the problematic nature of the sarcastic denialist. But just as a reminder, this is not foolproof. It matters of the delivery and the context of how you deliver the arguments, and what time you present it. But strictly, if the friends or group are rational, they will listen and agree. Scenario 3. This is probably the hardest situation, because you are in a way forced to converse with the group or you'll become an outcast. The main reason is that a group of sarcastic denialists have usually a big amount of pressure on the class in general or the general people that you know. If they do not have that leverage, then you'll be fine just avoiding them as altogether. But there are times where you have to talk to them. These times call for drastic measures. The best course of action is that of talking to them about a common topic, which there is no disagreement about. If this does not work, then a sidestepping of the question is fine as long as they do not see you pivoting. If all ends wrongly, then you have no way of escape, then try agreeing with them. This lends itself that they won't have any fire to loom you over, so you'll be looked at as part of the group. Even though this may dampen your mood, it's a best way of escaping the cautious actions of the sarcastic denialists. Conclusion. The sarcastic denialist is a dubious mystery to the eyes of me. Still, after this note, I find myself lost, but I hope that a further study or an article will untie this person. I hope that this will be of some use if you find yourself talking to a sarcastic denialist.